We'll figure it out.
Okay, we're live on YouTube now. I am going mute. Goodbye.
Okay, then if we're live, I'm going to let everyone in now, Shamima.
Assalamu alaikum. Before we begin, I'd just like to remind everyone to keep their cameras and mics off. There will be an opportunity to put it on during the question and answer segment or section. I will begin now. Family and friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second annual Janjira Habsani Cooking Extravaganza. Owing to the success of last year's one, we have another exciting offering today and next week, 9 October. I'm Shamima Mauser, your host today. We have a lineup of mouth-watering traditional dishes and desserts made by our talented chefs from the community. We have just celebrated the Heritage Month throughout September. Tasneem Hamid once said, "Learn character from trees, values from roots, and change from leaves." May we always learn and share our rich cultural heritage. I would like to call upon Hafiz Tanweer Ahmed Faki to render dua for all our family members and friends who have passed on. May Allah grant them mercy, forgiveness, and Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah, Ameen. We also pray for all those who are not in the best of health. May they be granted complete shifa, inshallah, Ameen. Hafiz Tanweer.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وإليك يعود السلام فحينا ربنا بالسلام وأدخلنا الجنة بارك ربنا الإسلام اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق وأعمالنا من الرياء وألسنتنا من الكذب وأعيننا من الخيانة فإنك تعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور رب يسر ولا تؤسر رب تمم بالخير وأنت الكريم الميسر ربنا وآتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين اللهم أذهب البس رب الناس اشف وأنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وأسكنهم في الجنة اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وأسكنهم في الجنة اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وأسكنهم في الجنة واحشرهم مع النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين اللهم اجعل قبرهم روضة من رياض الجنان ولا تجعل قبرهم حفرة من حفر النيران برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah Hafiz Tanweer. May you be blessed and may all our du'as be accepted. I would now like to call upon the President of the Janjira Habsani Educational and Social Society, Advocate Mohammed Salih, to share a few words.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Program Director, so evergreen, all participants and each and every member who's committed and contributed to today's event, I say unto you all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before the official welcome, I just need to state the very essence and purpose of JES in our society. The vision of JES is to serve humanity and to create a peaceful and better world amidst this difficult pandemic that we face. It is to promote our religious, cultural, and all systemic development within ourselves, to ensure that we progress and adapt in a changing environment. And I refer to this massive difficulties our society is currently facing. JES is open to all members who subscribe and share in our vision of youth development and promotion of Islamic values. In keeping with ethos of educational upliftment and the assistance of individuals who are in need, over decades, JES has been providing massive amounts of contributions across the color line. With that in mind, Program Director, I wish to welcome each and everyone who's joined us in this second virtual cooking extravaganza. The presenters have very kindly taken time to share their recipes and allow us to observe the processes behind these mouth-watering dishes. Of course, in our culture, in our midst of upbringing, food and eating and drinking has been a binding force in our society. And to this extent, I wish that each and every one of you will enjoy this beautiful extravaganza presented by Jess. Program Director, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I wish to thank each and every EXCO member who's contributed unfailingly to the success of Jess at Lodge. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Advocate Salih, for your welcoming words and background information. The Janjira Habsani Educational and Social Society is a 100-year established organization and has run notable social, cultural, and educational projects throughout the years. Some of the projects include the 1 million Rand Bursary Fund, the annual Miladun Nabi program, and the Ramadan Fitra and Zakah parcels. It is a purely voluntary organization. If anyone wishes to assist or volunteer, do make contact. Details will appear in the short video being played. I would like to thank all the sponsors for today's event. Thank you to all of you for logging in, and in particular to our chefs for opening their kitchens to us and allowing us to zoom in. Our main sponsor for the event this year is Kagiso Asset Management. The proceedings for today is as follows. We have 4 cooking segments. Rabia Mahmoud Gire making gaira, white curry and red baked masala fish by Razina Palika, butter chicken and naan by Yasin Mauser, and Rihanna Ashtika making carrot halwa. There is a grand prize of over 2,000 Rand and district cafe vouchers of 500 Rand up for grabs for the most interactive participant of today and next week's show, as well as for answering some quiz questions next week about both shows. So best of luck. Please feel free to post comments and questions in the chat, and after each segment, you will have an opportunity to interact. It is now time for Ready, Steady, Cook. Rabia is an English teacher who currently tutors from home. She loves reading and running and, of course, cooking for her family. She was a participant last year as well with her famous fish acne. Over to you, Rabia.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's so lovely to be part of the Habsani virtual cooking extravaganza once again. And I think I'd also just like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving us another opportunity to share our cooking with each other. So the last time that we met, we cooked up a storm with fish biryani, and I thought this time we would just keep it simple and sweet. So for me, cucumbers are synonymous with salad and with sushi. But if you've grown up in an Indian household, then cucumbers are well known for cucumber fritters, which we call gari. So I have childhood memories of my mom making gari for us, but it's only after I got married that I learned to make them myself, quite recently actually, because mummy over here has been making them for a very long time, and I still need to check with her if I'm on the right track. Mummy, ons gaan nou gari maak, né? Mummy gaan vir my help?
Yeah.
Mummy, to those of you that don't know Mummy, she is Aisha Mahmood Giri, fondly known as Chichibi to many people, and as I said earlier, I still need her help when it comes to gari. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so gari or cucumber fritters, it's really very easy to make. Okay, you have 5, I think, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, you have 5 basic ingredients. Obviously, you need cucumbers. So for this recipe, we would use 3 large cucumbers. You would peel them, so this is what it needs to look like once it's done peeling, and this we will grate in a moment. To our cucumbers, we will add sugar, we will add salt, we will add some medium desiccated coconut, and we will add some flour. So you know, often when Mummy and I make the gari, then she would have a story or two to tell, and she'd always remind me of how easy we have things now, because back in the day when they used to get the coconut or sauce the coconut, they had to what they call gerodlas, the nadels themselves, on that little bunkie with a grating contraption in front. I'm sure many of you can relate to that, if not for yourselves, your grandparents or your parents maybe. And they used to physically, manually grate the coconut, so it used to be fresh coconut in their gari. I'm certainly not going to be doing that at all, so I have got medium desiccated coconut. The recipe is very easy. I'm just going to run through it with you quickly. We will grate our cucumber, and we will let that rest for about 20 minutes so that it can release its water, and that's the water we're going to use when we mix it. And once that's done, it's a matter of adding in the rest of our dry ingredients, mixing it up together, and then we are ready to fry it. Okay, so let's get started. Mummy bietjie nader kom. Mummy verseker. Okay. We'll just take the bowl to Mom when she's ready. She's a bit camera shy. Okay, so what I've done here is I have already grated some cucumber, so I'm going to just grate this last remaining bit. My mom is Sharifa Qazi Ruknuddin. She is the daughter of the late Qaji Sahib. So my mom told me that my grandmother used to also sometimes put some gore into the cucumber fritters and cut down on the actual sugar. And obviously in India, gore must have been the ingredient that they used when they make the cucumber. Okay, so there we go. I'm just cleaning all of this off. Another thing I learned from my mom and my mom-in-law and my grannies, that you must clean everything off nicely. Okay, so I've let the cucumber stand now for about 15-20 minutes, and as you can see, it's been releasing its own water, and that's the water that's going to be used to bind it when we add the dry ingredients. Okay, now we are ready to add our dry ingredients. Over here I have my 1 1/4 cup of sugar, my 1 1/4 cup of medium desiccated coconut. I've taken 2 1/2 cups of flour. On this side I've got additional in case we need to add, and we've got 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, now that we've added most of our dry ingredients, which is the salt, the sugar, and the coconut, we're first going to give this a nice good mix. Make sure that the coconut is all nicely blended in. You'll find when you're making the gari that you may need to use your discretion and add extra coconut. Now I'm very lucky because for my discretion I have Mummy. So I'll always just ask her, Mummy, is dit genoeg nou? Which I'm going to do in a bit. Okay, I'm just going to check with Mummy that this is enough coconut. Mummy, kyk gou hier. Die klappe genoeg of moet ek genoeg, né? Moet ek kleine bietjie bygooi? Okay, all right. Mommy says nog kleine bietjie bygooi. So let's do that because she is really the gari expert. Okay, so I'm just adding the extra coconut. And once again, I'm going to mix that in before I'm going to add my flour. Okay, so this is what our mixture must look like. Before we're going to add the flour, you can see that it's still a bit watery and it needs to be that way because the flour is going to bind it. Okay, so this is what our batter must look like when we have added the flour. And I was going to take the bowl to Mummy, but Mummy's decided to join us over here. Okay, Mummy, kyk gou. Is die meel genoeg? Of is okay, né? Ek dink moet nog 'n bietjie suiker kry.
Let's for it.
Moenie 'n bietjie suiker bygooi nie. Kleine bietjie, dis te veel, né? Okay. You just need to taste and use your discretion. So I had to add a bit of extra flour, a bit of extra sugar. You'll get the hang of it. While I've got Mummy here to help me, I'm just going to take advantage and do it under her supervision and guidance. Mummy, lyk dit reg nou?
Ja, reg nou.
Reg nou, né? Ons kan maar bak nou. Okay, all right. Okay, we can get ready to start frying. Yeah. Okay, now we are ready to fry. So to fry, we're going to need a frying pan, obviously. You're going to need some fish oil. You can use a plate, you can use a colander, you can use a tray. You're going to need lots of paper towel because I'm sure you want to drain off as much excess oil as possible. You're going to need your spatula and your spoon. And now we're good to get started. Okay, now we're going to add our oil. I do request that you use your discretion. So it's not a completely deep, it's not a deep fry, and it's a sort of like a shallow fry. So there must be sufficient oil to coat the pan as I have got it over here. Okay. Then the heat. So your oil has to be nice and warm, not piping hot like you would put a samosa in, but it does need to be quite warm so that the fritter gets a nice even fry. Okay, so here you can see the amount of oil that I've put in. It's quite a decent amount, and I can assure you, you're going to have to top it up as you fry. So you're basically going to drop a spoonful in, and you are going to sort of spread it out before you add your next spoon in. You can see it's sizzling nicely all around it. And you know, I'm always looking for a healthier alternative, but unfortunately with fritters there's no other way to do it than to just fry it in oil. So when you're making gare, just remember you're treating yourself. Forget about the diet on that day. So you can see I've spread it out nicely. There we go. Mami, gaan mami kom kyk? Mami verseker. I'm just going to grab a fork. It will help me to turn. Okay, and obviously you need to just keep your eye on the temperature, but as it is now, that's a really good temperature. I'm going to lift this one slightly for you. You can see it's starting to brown, but it's not sufficiently brown to be turned over yet. Frying gare does take quite a bit of time, so you need to be patient about it. Put on some good music or have a conversation with whoever is around you, and just let the oil and the batter do its thing. While we're waiting for this to fry, let me share something else with you. So my mom, not my mom-in-law, my mom said to me that my nana, which is the late Kaji Sab, I'm sure many of you would know him, he used to love gare with like a thick mutton curry. So gare is a sweet dish, but he used to enjoy it with a mutton curry. So my nani used to make a little bit of a thick mutton curry, and when she used to make the gare, she used to reduce the sugar in it so that it's not as sweet, and he would then have it with his curry and obviously thoroughly enjoy it. So if anybody wants to be adventurous, that's an alternate way of preparing the gare and eating it. It looks like it's starting to brown now, but still not ready to be turned over. I did tell you, you need to have a lot of patience when it comes to frying gare, which I think is one of the reasons it's more the mommies and the grannies that make it. And I'm sure our good friend Mr. Cameraman will agree that it's smelling very cucumber-like. Moet hard voort. Yeah, she's telling me I must not under fry it. It mustn't be raw. Yeah, switch is high. I'm trying to convince Mummy to come to the stove. Maybe in the next few minutes we can get it right. So you can see it's a nice brown color. If you do like it crispier, I know that Akhlaq, he likes it very crispy. Nice. So he would want me to fry it a little bit darker than it is, than I've got it here on the pan. I'm just going to also reduce the heat a bit. You'll have to play with the heat as you fry it. After all that frying, it's now time to enjoy our gari with a lovely cup of koricha.
बदले ने मैं तेरे जो खुदा खुद भी दे जन्नत दे सच कहूँ छोड़ दूँ तुमसे जबता मैं ना जानू तुमसे खुद को मैं पहचानूं तुमको बस मैं अपना मानूं माहिया तुमसे जबता मैं ना जानू
Thank you, Rabia. Gari is that you can't stop eating kind of treat. Does anyone have any questions or comments they'd like to share? I think everyone's mouth is watering.
There's no questions, then that's a good sign.
It means it
I
was a
would
very
like
well
to-
explained video.
I would like to have some to sample. So is there any possibility of getting some?
Well, I'll have to make a fresh batch, and then everyone can sample, inshallah, in a COVID-free environment. Right now, you'll have to get behind the pots and try out the recipe, and then let us know how it went.
We can do a drive-by, Arabia.
Now you're getting innovative, eh? Rabia has to fry lots of curry.
I see we have one question.
Someone asked for delivery services in the UK. So that means we have someone from the UK.
We have more than one person from the UK streaming in today, so that's so lovely.
And someone asked if you use English cucumber or the other one.
Normal English cucumber. Normal English cucumber, yes. Not the small ones, just the normal. Yeah.
Any further questions? You can continue sharing your comments in the chat. I'm going to introduce the next cook. We have Rosina Palika of La Dolce Rosa blog fame. She's going to be making white curry and baked masala red fish. Rosina is a food stylist, recipe developer, and photographer, providing delicious sweet and savory recipes. In a free time, you will find her cooking up a storm or watching series with her favorite thing in the world, spicy ramen. Rosina?
Hi, salam everyone. Hope you enjoy the video.
Yes, the next video will start at 1:45. We just have a bit of time before the next one.
So does anyone have any questions or comments while we wait for the next video?
Assalamu alaikum, sisters.
Hi.
Alaikum salam.
Rabia calling, watching you from London. Razina's auntie. Mashallah, it's such a good program. I really enjoyed it. Are you guys recording this? Can we get a recording after, this Zoom recording?
Aziza, could I ask you to answer?
We're busy playing it on YouTube, so the recording should be available. The videos, we're still deciding if we're going to release it on YouTube or not individually, probably in a few weeks' time.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, Zara, Jazakallah. Thank you.
And I think
Can
that's
one of
it.
the EXCO members answer the question of Ilham? She wants to know a little more about the Janjira Habsani group.
Yes, you can email us and we'll send you some things. You can email info@habsani.coza. It's a bit difficult to try and explain everything on this platform at the moment. Okay.
Can I ask a question? If any of the viewers know, is there another name that people use for gari?
I heard some Tosha, Maure, I don't know if that's right.
I think Tosa Chigare, something like that, is another Indian term for gari. Tosa is cucumber. So Tosa Chigare, gari, otherwise just good old cucumber fritters.
In the group, it says Tos Gari and Tosa Chipoli.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum. I have a question.
Go ahead.
So if you do not want to use vegetable oil, is it okay to use like coconut oil or any other oil instead of just, fish oil?
I'm sure that will be fine. It may just alter the taste of the gari, but it is a cucumber fritter with lots of coconut in it. So I think coconut oil would be a good one to go with.
Yes. And I see you served it.
It is you, eh? Speaking.
Yes, it's me.
Okay, then I would like to suggest, Yasin, that you experiment with an alternate oil and then maybe post on Habsani how that was.
I think coconut oil will actually maybe complement the flavor because there is desiccated coconut within the recipe.
Yeah.
So if you want to be like a little bit healthier or whatever, I think coconut oil would be a good alternative.
Well, like I said, Yasin, you try it out and then you can let us know via the Habsani channel. That would be really awesome. Thank you.
But it looked very beautiful and everything, mashallah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Ilham says that coconut oil would need a lower temperature. Nazneen asked if Rabia could please repeat the quantities of the ingredients.
We will be sending out a recipe book after next week's session with the quantities and everything in there. So whoever has registered, they will get the recipe book afterwards. But if Auntie Rabia wants to go ahead and repeat the quantities now, it's up to her as well.
If we do have time to wait, then if our next video is not ready, I'll do it quickly. It's very, very quick and easy. Just give me a second and I'll get it for you. Oops, sorry. It's basically 3. Okay, here we go. It's 3 large cucumbers. You're going to peel it, wash it. Then it's 2 2 teaspoons fine salt level, 1¼ cup sugar, 1¼ cup coconut. Both those ingredients you must just judge and use your discretion if you want to add more or less. And then 3 level cups of flour and oil for frying. And just remember to give, once you've peeled your coconut, once you've peeled your cucumber, give it about 15 minutes or so just to let it release its own water, and you'll use that to mix it. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Rabia. I think we'll be going for an ad break now. One of the EXCO members, Majid Mauser, is going to answer the question about some more information about Janjira Habsani.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Program Director. First of all, I just thoroughly enjoyed all the adverts of our sponsors, and I encourage our viewers to support these businesses because they do a lot of work in supporting Jess, and I think we must appreciate and, you know, like they say, support the people that support you. So basically, on Jess, the question was, what do we do? I'm maybe going to go back a little bit in history. The organization was established in 1916. And those of you that live in Cape Town, it was formed in Lower Main Road in Observatory, which is quite the yuppie place nowadays. But that's actually where the society was established. And the company that was there, going back to 1916, can you believe it? We had a company called the Jaffer and Company, and that's where this organization was formed and established. And initially, basically, coming from India, most of our forefathers being migrants in this particular country, they came to South Africa in search of a better life and to develop the people both in India and here. They started off collecting funds, a few cents literally, and by collecting it and working as a collective on a voluntary basis, they were able to collect sufficient funds to build the hospitals in India, in the villages. They built an educational system in Murud today, still standing there. And that same building in Murud is used today to teach all our family members there in IT and in agriculture. We then, at that time, the people also thought that education was fundamental in the development and upliftment of people. And so we started off with a bursary fund then, and over the years, it evolved to such an extent that so many of professionals nowadays have benefited from the Janjira Habsani bursary fund. So that has been the core, flagship project of Janjira Habsani. Nowadays, we still give the bursaries to people. And as most of you would know, that in 2018, the South African government offered NSFAS, which is a student fund for students at university. But there are certain criteria linked to that fund. Your income can't exceed more than 360,000 per annum. So it's really for the poorest of the poor to uplift them out of poverty as well. And the state funds that. And so you find that there are many families that don't meet that threshold. They're just slightly over 360 per annum income. We call them the missing millions. And then those families don't benefit from the state. And it's organizations like Janjira Habsani Society and similar other organizations that fills that void of supporting families then with funding on the bursaries and to get them through university. So really the organization plays a vital role in that missing millions. We roughly, on average, support almost about 25 to 30 students per annum. On that, as the program director indicated, we have what we call the 1 million bursary fund. We issue out over R1 million in bursaries to these students. And we are very proud that most of these students, once they've qualified, they plow back into the organization because as they've benefited, they feel they need to support the JES bursary fund so that other students who are in a similar position can also get the opportunity to study and empower themselves. So we work very hard on the JES bursary fund. And I want to compliment the executive members and the committee members of the Bursary Fund. We are the only organization that I know of that offers this service purely on a voluntary basis and do not charge an admin fee. Many organizations, NGOs in particular, they would administer Bursary Fund, but they would, if you donate 100 rands for argument's sake, they will take off 10 rands for themselves for admin fees, rightly so too. And then they would just hand over the 90 rands. In JES, we work slightly differently. You give us 100 rands, we donate the full 100 rands to the beneficiary of the Bursary Fund. And it's our membership then that actually offer the admin fees and the running around. They do that purely on a voluntary basis. So that's just a minor little difference on the Bursary Fund. In addition to that, we also believe, and I think the president earlier said in his speech, JES is all about our Islamic values and our culture, but also our youth in particular. And so we have got a property in Cape Town, in Melkbos, which is a 9.8 hectare property, which we initially intended for a development for our youth. Because it's about 38 kilometers from the city, we are trying to relocate it to bring it closer to us, but that's one of our developments as well. Over and above, we also do annually our Miladun Nabi program, where we offer our programs, and we also do the Ramadan Mass Iftar. Unfortunately, for 2 years, we were unable to host the Mass Iftar because of COVID. And inshallah, one day when we're over COVID, we hope we can resume that activity. Normally for the Mass Iftar, we have over 500 people attending. We bring families together. In the month of Ramadan, we also bring our youth together because we believe that we must continue some of the value-based systems in our lifestyle and our traditions. So hopefully we can resume that soon. We also do food parcels and the Fritter parcels, and we distribute it. And once again, the full amount donated gets distributed, and our youth in particular, with the leadership, distributes that to the needy on an annual basis. Last year in April, we also established what we call the COVID Humanitarian Fund. And we set ourselves a target to raise certain funding to support people. I'm pleased to say that the relationship donors and benefactors have with JES was of such a magnitude that our target was exceeded fourfold in actual fact with the contributions that they've given us, and we are extremely grateful to them. We continuously pray to Allah to continue to bless them and to guide them. And those funds were utilized primarily. We are looking after about 70 odd widows. Sadly, some of them have been widowed with the husbands being lost due to COVID. We support them with food parcels. We also bought 2 washing machines for the Tygerberg Hospital in Cape Town. As you know, at the initial stages of the COVID, PPEs was a major concern and problem. And we then supported the Tygerberg ICU, particular unit at the Tygerberg Hospital, by giving them 2 washing machines so that they could wash the PPPs and then reuse it. We've also distributed masks freely. And we also supported students that, as you know, when COVID came in, everybody had to do things online. And a lot of people were battling with data or couldn't afford to purchase data, whereby we supported learners with data so that they can continue with their studies. Those are some of the activities that JES does. But as you can see, we 105-year-old organization, and we are extremely proud that, and we feel very honored and blessed that our parents have inculcated this value system with us. They've handed it over to another generation, And we intend, inshallah, with Allah's qudrat, to hand over this legacy to the next generation, so that Jess doesn't survive for 105 years, but for 200 years, inshallah. And we encourage people to join us, to support us. The president has indicated we are an open organization. And so we welcome anybody that wants to work on a voluntary basis and assist us in any of these social activities, as well in some of these cultural activities. I mean, this cook along an extravaganza today bears testimony that we try to keep people interested. We try to give them an opportunity. Jess also has a women's forum, which was established, and most of you might have read about her, or you might have her recipe books. That is the lady of Durban, Zuleika Mayat. She launched our women's forum for us, and we try to innovate as much as possible. I'm going to end off maybe by just saying that being part of Jess for a number of years, my view at the moment is, this is my personal view, we are very fortunate and we're extremely grateful that I can see Jess will continue, because we've got so many young members on our executive. We are executive of over 20, and I think at least 60% of them are young people. And I think it's so wonderful to work with young people. They have the energy, the initiative to continue with this tradition and with this values of the Jess Society. I think this cook along, this program today has been organized by the young people. And so we are quite delighted that they've taken part, and we wish them everything of the best. And we ask Allah to continue to bless them and to guide them, because once again, they can hand over the baton to the next generation, inshallah. I don't know if I've covered everything, Program Director, but you asked me to say something. I hope I've done that.
Thank you for the input. I hope that helps the lady that asked about some more information about Janjira Habsani. The next video will be screened in about 2 minutes.
They're not supposed to hear. So you're supposed to hear. You had it on, and you had it on. No. The house. Jamila doesn't, they don't have a hall yet for Friday. The wrong road is available.
Program Director, can I just come in quickly?
Yes. Was there a further question or comment?
Sorry, now I just wanted to mention that all the services and the bursaries that Jess offers is across the board, irrespective of religious background, cultural background, or racial groupings. We offer this across the board to the broader society because the President has indicated our fundamental core is to serve humanity and not a particular grouping, really. So I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you. We will restart the video now.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Rosina Palika. You may know me from my Instagram food blog, La Dolce Rosa. I'm really excited to be here to cook as part of this cooking extravaganza with the Janjira Habsani committee. We are going to be making red masala oven fish, or some Cockneys might know it as atlela mara. And I have no idea what atlela means, so sorry about that. But yeah, we're going to be making that with some white curry, which you may or may not know about. So yeah, really excited to share this with you, and I hope you enjoy the cook along. Okay, we're going to quickly run through the ingredients that you're going to need for the fish. So first up, we have the actual fish that you're going to be using, which is obviously the hero. I'm using red Roman, which I got from the fishery already cut. Unfortunately, they filleted instead of cut it into slices for me, so that's why it looks like this. But you can obviously try and get the little chunks done, which obviously looks a lot nicer in the Pyrex, and it's a bit easier to eat as well. So I'm going to be leaving these whole just so it looks a bit nicer. And then tomatoes. So we've got our grated tomato here with the skin on. Then we have freshly crushed garlic. Obviously, like using the fresh option just because obviously the flavor is a lot better. We've got some freshly squeezed lemon juice, same thing about the freshness there. We've got some Kashmiri chili powder and some turmeric, salt and pepper as required, and then we've got some tamarind. You can use the red or the black. I couldn't find the red, so I went with the black one, but both work equally fine. You've got some freshly cut green chili, some red masala, freshly cut coriander, and some curry leaves. Cool, so actually making the fish masala is pretty simple. You basically just take all the ingredients and pop them into a bowl and let it marinate for a couple of hours. So yeah, I'm gonna be going through that right now with you.
सोना इन्ना सोना क्यों रब ने बनाया इन्ना सोना क्यों रब ने बनाया आवाज आवाज में यारा मनावा आवाज आवाज में यारा मनावा इन्ना सोना इन्ना सोना इन्ना सोना
So our fish is marinated in the fridge for a couple of hours. Obviously, the longer the better, and this will obviously enhance a lot of the flavoring. So once you're ready with that, you can pop it into a Pyrex, obviously oven proof, and yeah, have your oven ready on 180 degrees and nicely heated up. We're going to add some of this tamarind to the fish. Oh. Just going to put a few little bits into it. If you do have mango, which I know is not really in season at the moment, it would be awesome to add a couple of pieces of that as well. And then you can add some of the green chili. We eat quite spicy at home, so that's why I'm going a little crazy with that. And a little bit more of the coriander as well. The tamarind really balances everything out, because obviously this is quite an acidic dish with so much tomato, so it adds a little bit of a tanginess, which is really nice. It just stays in the oven for 30 minutes. So yeah, it's quite a long time. Fish doesn't usually need that long, but because it's tomato, and tomato obviously needs to reduce quite a bit, it stays in the oven for about 30 minutes. So our fish is ready to go into the oven. We're going to pop that in, and then while that's baking, we can start on the curry. Okay, we're going to run through the ingredients for the white curry now. And as you can imagine, there's obviously no turmeric featuring here. We're keeping the color quite bland. And yeah, so yeah, main ingredient here is obviously our yogurt. I like to use the double cream yogurt just because, you know, so much tastier. We've got some coconut milk. We've got some freshly ground garlic. We've got flour, chili powder, which we're going to be using literally just a quarter teaspoon of, some cumin, a little bit of butter, and a quarter of an onion. So the process for this is really, really easy. We literally just pop everything that you're seeing right now into the blender, except for the coconut milk. And then that's gonna go onto the stove until it's boiling and then simmers. So now we're taking things to the stove. We're just going to pop a saucepan on to high heat and then take a little bit of our butter. And we're going to be adding this in with our curry leaves, which is the only aromatic that we're actually using. So yeah, I'm using fresh ones. I know they don't look that amazing, but you know that curry leaves are fresh when they pop. now that our mixture's in, we can drop the heat down to medium heat and just keep stirring until it cooks through. Okay, so our curry has now been simmering for around 3 minutes, and it's time to add the coconut milk. So we're going to be using half a tin of this. So now it needs to just literally get one boil. Once it's boiled once, then it's ready to go. And obviously we just need to add some salt just before the end. About a teaspoon should be fine. So all our elements are now done. We can do the main thing. Well, the thing before the main thing. We can plate up and then dig in.
बदले ने मैं तेरे जो खुदा खुद भी दे जन्नत दे सच कहूँ छोड़ दूँ तुमसे जुदा मैं ना जानूं तुमसे खुद को मैं पहचानूं तुमको बस मैं अपना मानूं माहिया तुमसे ज्यादा मैं ना जानूं तुमसे खुद को मैं पहचानूं तुमको बस मैं अपना मानूं माहिया
Thank you, Rosina. Wow, the comfort of home food. Are there any questions or comments on Rosina's segment? Anyone want to share their baked fish experiences? Okay, someone says, who taught Rosina to cook traditional food? Rosina?
Salam, thank you for the question. I think just a little bit of everyone, kind of, you know, my mom, my aunts, my late granny as well. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but last year we did the Go-No segment for this same culinary extravaganza. And she was actually helping me quite a bit in that one. So yeah, it's just kind of a combination of everyone. You'll just find me often on the phone, like begging them for proper measurements and stuff, because that often doesn't happen. It's like, oh, just throw a bit of this and throw a bit of that. So I have to often, like, you know, pester them quite a bit because I'm quite, you know, by the book in terms of recipes and stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit of a combination.
Any other questions?
Someone's asked how long it was in the oven. So my oven's a little bit problematic at home. It's just, you know, a little bit of an old one. It came with the apartment and it can be a little bit troublesome. But in like a regular fan and electric oven, it should take around 30 to 35 minutes. Mine took a little bit longer than that because it was just being a bit slow. What actually didn't show up on the video was that I drizzled a bit of oil as well. And halfway through, I actually ended up covering it with some foil because I felt like it wasn't reducing very well. So yeah, that's something that I think is one way of doing it. You obviously just have to judge as well.
Someone asked, what does the red masala contain?
So yeah, that's a good question. I actually get my red masala from Johannesburg. So basically it just has like a mix of like fresh red chili. It's got a bit of ginger, a bit of garlic, and some other spices. You can obviously just, you know, replace it with those spices and aromatics. And there isn't really a special brand because I see someone else has sent me a direct message about that. I just basically use whatever red masala I can get my hands on. If anyone does sell it in Cape Town, then, you know, this would be a great place to just mention where to get it from. Then I also know, but I basically generally just buy it and then pop it in the freezer and it lasts a couple of months.
I think someone asked about getting the recipes, but Aziza indicated that if you've registered, you will receive a recipe book of this week and next week's recipes.
I got another direct message. Where in Johannesburg do you buy from? So yeah, I generally get it from Eccles, but most spice shops will have like a little fridge section where they'll have, you know, the red masala, green masala, all of that. Obviously, you can also make it at home. I can try and like find a recipe and then share it at another stage if anyone wants. But yeah, it's the ones that you buy can be quite nice. Makes life a bit easier.
Thank you, Rosina. Are there any further questions or comments?
I see that Uncle Majid's got his hand up. Uncle Majid, are you there?
Yeah, but the program director gives me no recognition.
Dad, you can go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask Rosina. I just heard you saying your granny's late. Is that Ma that made the gown last year?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, may Allah grant her Jannah. She was such a wonderful and sweet lady. May Allah give her the highest space in Jannah, inshallah. Okay, we'll make dua for her.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Inshallah, Ameen. Zaida Khan said the red masala is the key ingredient and local ladies make homemade and sell in Joburg.
Yeah, fantastic.
Uncle
You can have a lot of other stuff.
I see Uncle Atta's also got his hand up.
Uncle Atta, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Right, Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, the males also want to have their share here. It's not a female domain, I would like to believe. And it's nice to know that later on we're going to have a male chef on board as well. But just on that, the red masala thing, obviously, I think a lot of people like to make it themselves at home. I'm not the expert, but I think one of our sponsors, they stock a wide range, and you can talk to them and they will blend for you and so on. I don't want to mention the name, but it's a spice outlet that is one of our sponsors, and they certainly would cater for you as well locally, and do support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Atola. On that note, I think I'll introduce our next segment. It's Butter Chicken and Naan by Yasin Mauser. So Yasin is our first male cook on our show and a very talented young man. He's a City and Guilds qualified chef and loves Cape Town's diverse culture and food experiences. He describes his cooking as fusion food and draws inspiration from multiple cuisines. I believe Yasin's video will be played at 11:45. So if there are any further questions or comments in the meantime, or otherwise we will screen the ad.
Yeah. Just to give some background, I mean, there are allocated time slots for each session. So everyone can just either log in again at that time. It's just that we have the cook available at those times. So it was just a bit difficult trying to schedule everyone's diaries to align on one day. The other thing is that, yeah, so we'll see you at, 11:45 for the next session. But yeah, if there's any questions, we'll continue to answer those in the chat, and let us know.
Thank you, Aziza.
Can I come in
Yes,
maybe?
yes,
Maxwell
Uncle
coming?
Atta can come in. I see Atta
Yeah,
has also got a hand up, so maybe
Yeah.
we can keep chatting if people are willing to
Yeah.
want to chat during the time. Also, we're open to that.
Yeah, I think as the saying goes, variety is the spice of life, which reminds me many years ago, I've been involved in many different things, and I once, me and the wife ran a spice shop as well. And we used to get people used to come for all kinds. We used to make everything, biryani mix, mutton mix, and crayfish curry mix, you name it. And of course, this one Saturday, I happened to be alone in the shop, and a woman came and she wanted a snoek braai mix. And of course, me looking the very confident and very, accomplished chef and more advisor, I went around and did my concoction, and I gave her the snoek braai mix. And then the next day, of course, she came marching into the shop again. And I thought, oh no, that was probably a flop. And she came in and she said, you know what, that was the best braai, that snoek braai that the family had. They raved about the mix. Can you make me another half a kilo? So I thought, now, oh God, what did I use? And so, of course, I just went around and did my own concoction again. And luckily for me, it turned out a success as well. So if I can do it, if you play around and so on, you can also become a very accomplished chef also. It's about being confident and not being scared. So you got to explore, and you'll get it right. Sometimes a bit with trial and error. That's my little bit on the side.
I see Atia 647296 has a hand up. Atia, you're on mute. So if you want to unmute yourself and say something.
Some people were asking about receiving the recipes for this week and for next week. You have to register to receive the recipe book. And can I ask Aziza to place the registration link in the chat, perhaps? Also a reminder to ask questions or comments, as there is that grand prize which will be awarded next week for the most interactive participant.
Program director, I don't want the prize, so I'm not talking, but I thought maybe while we're waiting, maybe Brother Atola can do a song for us, you know, and keep us going a little bit.
Uncle Atola, there's a request for a song before Yasin session.
Was that a request for a song? Yeah. I think my voice is gone. So in this whole COVID period in lockdown, my voice has gone into lockdown as well. So yeah, Majid, you're catching me offside actually, but yeah, I have to think of an appropriate song. I don't know right now. Need a little bit of time. It's not a ready-made recipe, you know. So yeah, just give some thought.
Atola, you can do a concoction song, like the soup masala.
Okay, maybe just a light-hearted piece of giving salams to everyone and a welcome also. Just a short piece, and I'm going to say, Aya o mere dilbar, teri anjuman mile, ye wafa ka jaam le lo, ke wafa ka jaam le lo. मेरा सलाम ले लो जिसका सलाम ले लो मेरा सलाम ले लो हमारा सलाम ले लो जिस लोगों का सबका सलाम ले लो. As Majid Bhai said, of course, it's an organization that's not confined to a particular group. So we like to reach out to everyone, and we'd like to invite everybody to also join us, help us in all our activities. At the end of the day, we help each other, and when we help one another and our neighbors, nobody will go hungry, and everybody will have a good future, inshallah, as well. So that was just a little bit of welcoming and salams to everyone from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Atola.
Program director, our chairperson is also a very good singer. Maybe he can do a song for us as well.
Chairperson, there's a request for a song until we have the next segment.
Shamima, there seems to be complete silence, so maybe we can just occupy the time. If you'd like, I can relate a short story. It won't take a minute or two. Is that okay?
Yes, please do.
Okay, this was when we actually went on the cricket tour to India, and because I was one of the co-managers and managing a big group, of course, and everywhere we went, and in this hotel in Mumbai where we went for breakfast, and I love meeting people and of course the locals and chatting with them and joking and so on, and so that there's never a dull moment. And of course, at breakfast time, then I would this youngster call him, and I told him I'd like an egg, but it mustn't be a runny, you know. And I like my egg well done, of course. You know, the yolk must be well done, and it mustn't be a runny at all. So I told him it mustn't be a runny, mustn't. So he was trying to fathom out what the heck this man now want. I said egg must not be a runny, and so on, you know. So he found it very funny. He laughed, like he said, you know, he thought I meant the egg mustn't be running, you know, the egg itself mustn't be running, and that. So he found it extremely funny, and of course, after taking quite a few minutes to explain to him, he found it extremely funny. So every morning he would be the guy who would come to me straight and say, egg not running, egg not running, and so on. So, you know, it became quite hilarious as well. So related to food, of course, but those little things, they make for a lot of fun and that. So, yeah, there we go. That was from our cricket tour. Certain things one never forgets, of course, you know. And then also maybe I can also relate another short story in the Gao when we were having our cricket tournament. And, you know, Dr. Shafiq Ismail, his late wife, Razia, we were walking in the Gao, and they were looking, our tour bus was parked one side. And then she was, I don't know who else in the group, they were looking for the driver, and they asked the people, like, where is the driver? And they told her, under hai. Under meaning inside, of course, you know, in Urdu. But not knowing the language too well, she thought it's very funny that the guy will be under the bus, you know. And she kind of stretched over to look under, and only to be told under means inside, not underneath the bus. So, you know, so just some humor to add to the session as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, maybe just to keep the conversation going a little bit, maybe we can talk about what's your favorite dishes and the sorts of things that you like to see us doing going forward. You can either answer on the chat or you can answer via the session here. You can take yourself off mute. It's up to anyone. We can see what's your favorite childhood memory dish.
Maybe saying that what I can also say is that obviously I like all kinds of food, Eastern, Western, Chinese, you name it. I eat just everything and everything. In fact, last week I enjoyed some sheep brains, actually mendu as we call it. I love that too. But we had curry, of course, the white curry that we had on demo now by Razina, of course. You also get the yellow curry, and then of course there's another variation, not exactly curries, but it's called ukar. A lot of you, maybe all the participants, know about ukar. I don't know how it's made. Very simple, but it's lovely. It also goes nice with rice and fish and so on. So if the name ukar is familiar with the people around, think about it. And yeah, it's another lovely additive or addition or side, or it goes well with your rice and fish, of course. So you have it on your rice. It's called ukar.
I see someone put beja. I don't know what that is, so maybe you can let us know if someone else knows what that is.
Beja, yeah, beja is sheep brains.
Okay,
Beja
I've
is-
never tried. I've never tried that myself, but yeah, I'll
beja
believe
is-
Uncle Tola that it's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, sheep brains, or it's also called mendu, of course, sheep mendu. So yeah, beja is the sheep brains, yeah. I obviously don't want, due to branding, mention the outlet that really makes stunning beja, but I've got some people, relatives from Durban, and I've got friends from India. When they come down, then we have to go for beja and the prawn masala and the bindi masala and so on. We have it all, and with a lovely, soft, beautifully made naan bread and a divine. Yeah, it is.
Okay, we've got ukar. Anyone know what ukar is? Uncle Tola? Saida Khan
Yeah,
says
as I
that
said,
is very good.
Yeah, as I said, I eat it, ukar, but I can't get the ingredients and the recipe. My wife's not at home now, but we do have it, and it's lovely. So it's very simple. She said it's the simplest dish to make, and so I'm a simple guy, so maybe that's why she makes it.
My favorites are the more sweeter things. Like I love rot, but I know it's a process that you need to do the day before. So we couldn't find someone who was willing to demonstrate it this year, maybe next year. And I know for Muharram, it's like a tradition for us to have it. The family makes and gets shared amongst all of us. Shamima, you're on mute.
I was saying that to Uncle Atola that sheep brains is a favorite of mine too, and I haven't had it in a while.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can come in. So when you're down from Dubai, then maybe it calls for a get together, and yeah, I can say we can certainly go and have some.
Definitely. I think we're about 2 minutes away from Yasin's session, so I'll just reintroduce him. He's Yasin Mauser. He's going to be giving us the demo on butter chicken and naan, and he's a City and Guilds qualified chef, and he's inspired by multiple cuisines and fusion food. And the first male cook on our show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Yasin Mauser. I am a patisserie chef and also a culinary chef. And today we are going to be making a grilled chicken butter chicken. So to start off your butter chicken, you will need to marinate your chicken in advance. So preferably 1 hour to overnight. And I think for best flavor, overnight works best. So to marinate your chicken, you're going to need 1 kilo of chicken breast, cut and cubed and washed. To the chicken breast, you will add 2 tablespoons of tandoori spice, 3 tablespoons of yogurt, could be double thick, could be full cream. Just don't use low fat because it doesn't give you the right texture. And then you will also need 1 heaped tablespoon of garlic and ginger paste, a half a teaspoon of jeera, and a squeeze of fresh lemon. So I'd suggest half a lemon or quarter depending on the size. So after you marinate your chicken, set it aside for 1 hour or overnight. Then you are going to skewer it in the morning or the evening or just before you are going to grill it.